welcome to the Bible Tract Echoes radio broadcast. Thank you so much for spending a portion of your time with me today. I'm evangelist Micah McCurry, the director of Bible Tracts Incorporated and the host of this program. I'm so privileged to be on so many different radio stations across America and the world, and I am so thankful that you have chosen to be a part of our listening audience today. We are in the tail end of 2 weeks spent answering your questions about me personally, but also Bible Tracts Incorporated. I'll give you a little jump on what we're going to talk about today. Two main questions that we will answer. First off, how many different ways can I order free tracts? How many ways can you get the free products that we produce at Bible Tracts Incorporated? We'll answer that question, but first, I'm going to answer this excellent question. What else do you do besides tracts? What else do you do? That's a great question. I'm not exactly sure how to take it. I'm trying to think. Are they asking me personally, or are they talking about the ministry itself? I'll try to answer that question every way I know how. What we've endeavored to do over these past few weeks is to answer some of your burning questions about our ministry. It helps for us to realize that I don't always, and I know this at the base of my being, that I do not always do the greatest job of communicating the burden and the job, the ministry that God has given me here. I'm so thankful for what God has allowed me to do with Bible Tracts Incorporated, and my desire is to effectively communicate that to you. And one of the ways that helps me do that is when people do ask me questions. It kind of jolts me out of my rut, if you will, of just doing things the same way I always do them and assuming people have knowledge about things that they don't. Not because they're ignorant, but simply because I have not explained myself well. And so before we jump into this question of what do we do besides gospel tracts here at BTI, I'm going to tell you about a specific gospel tract called Do You Know For Sure? Now, I've recommended this one on at least 2 or 3 occasions over the past number of weeks. People have asked, do you have a gospel tract for Roman Catholics? Do you have a gospel tract for people that are in cults? Do you have a preferred gospel tract for people that are atheistic? And this gospel tract right here may be one of the best ones that we offer for people in those circumstances. Do you know for sure? You can order it for free at BibleTractsInc.org. And let's go ahead and jump into our first question. How many different ways are there to order your gospel tracts? Someone asked this question, and I'm going to endeavor to answer it off the top of my head with no notes. Hopefully we don't fail too horribly. First of all, you can order all of our gospel tracts on our website, BibleTractsInc.org. That's probably the best way to do it. That's probably the easiest way for our end, because that means that we get an automatic notification that someone ordered. All we have to do is fulfill that order, box it up, package it, put the postage on it, all of those things, and mail it out to you. Of course, for those of you that may be unfamiliar with our website, or maybe you don't have a steady internet connection, that becomes difficult. That's not a problem whatsoever. Here are a few other ways that you can order. You can call us, and of course, at the conclusion of each of these broadcasts, the announcer comes on and gives you all of our contact info, but I want to, as I said, over-communicate if I can, and make sure we explain ourselves very well, so you can actually call us. It's 309-828-6888. 309-828-6888. Here's a funny anecdote about our voicemail machine. If someone's not in the office or we're not able to get to the phone quick enough, it only allows us like 3 rings or something like that. And so if for some reason we don't get to the phone quick enough, a voice comes on and tells you, you've called Bible Tracts and Bible Tract Echoes. Please leave a voicemail. Leave your name and your telephone number, just your name and telephone number. The voice that you hear will often be very familiar to many of you because it's the voice of my predecessor, Pastor Mark Smith. And he was texting me the other day and he said, I called and got the voicemail and I heard my own voice. You need to go ahead and switch out that voice. You need to put your voice on there. And I said, well, here's the deal, friend. Your voice lends a sense of dignity and maturity. We got all these young bucks like myself and my brother-in-law running the place now. We need that sense of dignity to pervade, and your voicemail message helps with that. And he laughed, and we joked about that a little bit. And I don't know when I'm going to change that. I just appreciate hearing my predecessor's voice, Pastor Mark Smith, on the voicemail machine. One of these days we might do that, but we've covered the website. we've covered the phone. You can actually text me as well. If you have an order, text me 309-316-7240. If that's the only communication method you have to text, feel free to do that. We'd love to talk to you. You can also email us. It's info@BibleTractsInc.org, info@BibleTractsInc.org. That will come directly to our office staff. We'll get that taken care of. We'll make sure it gets forwarded to the right person. The last method, and for those of you that use the postal service often, go by the post office, this would probably be your best option, would be to send us an order form. Of course, if you've gotten one of our sample packets, if you get some of our tracts, you've probably seen the included order form that we normally include there. You can send that back, or even just on a note, tell us which gospel tracts you want. For instance, if you want 100 of Do You Know For Sure, you can put that in a letter, put the postage on there, and send it to this address, Bible Tracts Inc. at P.O. Box 188, Bloomington, Illinois, 61702. I'll give you that one more time in case you need to write it down. That's P.O. Box 188, Bloomington, Illinois, 61702. Address it to Bible Tracts Inc. Therefore, I've given you all of the different ways that I know of that you can communicate with us and let us know which gospel tracts you need. We send them out for free all over the place to over 170 different countries, and we'd love to send them to you as well. We'd appreciate the fact that you would be a part of our distribution network. That would be a great blessing to us. Now, let's ask and answer this question. What do you do besides tracts? Well, if I answer this from the ministry perspective of Bible Tracts Incorporated, that's a great question, because in short, we don't really do a whole lot besides tracts, because our burning desire, our goal is to print free gospel literature and make sure no Christian anywhere goes for want of the tools for outreach for the gospel's sake that they need. And so in reality, everything we do at Bible Tracts Incorporated is pointed to that effort. Now, that being said, we do a multiplicity of different things. We produce a newsletter that will tell our donors and tell our partners the effect of the ministry that they are donating towards. It kind of engages us with our donor base and lets them know that, yes, we are still in operation. We're still printing tracts by the millions and putting them out all over the place. Of course, part of what we do is produce this radio broadcast, and I'm so thankful for Brother Mark Fries. You'll see him featured in the next newsletter in the coming months. He is our tech guy who edits these and makes me sound a whole lot better than I normally do, of course. But these folks that work here at our ministry correspond with prisoners. They go through the mail. They package up the tracts, all of these things. Sometimes we have to shovel the sidewalk and put some salt down so people don't slip on their way in and out to work. And we do a lot of different things, but the sole goal and purpose of our ministry is gospel tracts. Now, that being said, the board of directors and the leadership team of Bible Tracts has given me ample liberty and has given me the opportunity to, as Dr. Paul Levine, our founder, did. Bible Tracts Incorporated was part of the ministry that God gave him, and he dabbled with some other things as well. And I don't say that in a light way, as in dabbling with things. I have the opportunity and the privilege to work with some other great ministries. For instance, myself, my brother-in-law, all the office staff and volunteers of Bible Tracts, we are heavily involved with our local churches. For me, that's the First Baptist Church of Dwight in Dwight, Illinois, and for my brother-in-law, Austin, as well. We have the privilege of being involved in so many different aspects of that ministry. Austin, as a youth pastor, I help with the live stream and things of that nature when I'm in town and help oversee some of those things. My wife, actually not too long ago, was helping with the international dinner for the missions conference that we were having. A couple of missionaries from all over or going to all points of the world. And so all of these different things that we get to do and be a part of, our life is wrapped up and around Bible Tracts Incorporated. But God has opened some marvelous doors. For instance, one of the things I'm very excited about is the open door of opportunity to also be a part of the leadership team at Bible Truth Music. You see, our world is putting out, if I can say it bluntly, is putting out, you could call it trash, honestly, when we're talking about music, putting out things that are in no way honoring to God. Speaking of, in vile ways, all sorts of different subjects, and it's putting it out at an astounding rate great. It's absolutely amazing how quickly these music producers are doing these things. But can I tell you, friend, though I would hasten to warn you against listening to these type of products, what we must do as Christians is produce good quality alternatives. And so not only do we put out gospel tracks for free, but I also have the privilege of helping to produce some good godly music as well. And so if you'd be interested in knowing more about that, I won't speak a lot about it here on the program because this is the Bible Tract Echoes. But in answer to this question, a great question of what do we do besides tracks, if you'd be interested, you could visit BibleTruthMusic.com, BibleTruthMusic.com, and see some of the other products that I've had a hand in being in the production of. That being said, actually on BibleTractsInc.org, our website, BibleTractsInc.org, we do have a few products, some music products that in exchange for a donation, we have been graciously allowed to offer these things free of charge. In exchange, I think for a $15 or $20 donation or so, one of these CDs that have been beautifully put together, and I'll give you a little word of warning. One of these CDs I'm actually on with about 10 or 11 different other men, and so thankfully my voice can be kind of faded down in the background, but I had the chance to record with some men in Indiana not long ago, and we actually have a second project upcoming you might see on the website soon, but because I'm on that project, and I'm of course related by way of ministry with Bible Tracts Incorporated, we've been graciously allowed to offer that, and all of the profit goes directly back into Bible Tracts Incorporated. And so in answer to the question, what do we do besides tracts? A lot of stuff. But thankfully, the goal is still the same. The gospel being put out across the world, and really we're trying to do it as low cost or as free as possible. And so I want to thank each and every one of you for these past 2 weeks of spending your time with us here. We have one more day of questions. We're going to try to rapid fire through the last few remaining questions. If you have a question, you have not heard it answered yet, or maybe you'd like to jump in here, text me 309-316-7240. That's 309-316-7240. If we don't get your question this time, we'll make sure to bring it up in the near future. So thank you so much for listening today. I hope you have a great day for His glory. And let me encourage you to do this. In the coming days and weeks on this broadcast, I'm going to be talking about some of what God has allowed us to do. What I'd like you to do is this: pray with and for us. Is it always helpful if you consider donating? Sure, absolutely. But more than that, we need and covet your prayers. So please take the time, put us on your daily prayer list. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. God bless.